This is Lab 20, Example 1. We have the function f of x equals 2x squared minus 8. We want to find the vertex, the x-intercepts, the y-intercept, and the range of this function. So we're going to find the vertex first. The vertex will be a point. Point is, if you don't remember, is of the form xy, like that. We have to find our x value and our y value. So our x value is going to come from the formula x equals negative b divided by 2a, and our y value will be once we plug in this x into our function up here. So it'll be the function with negative b2a as our x. So this b and a comes from the standard form of a polynomial where we have ax squared plus bx plus c. So if we compare this to our function here, we see that our a is 2 and our b is 0. There's nothing that has a single x. And our c is negative 8. So our x is going to be negative of our b, which is 0. So negative 0, essentially, divided by 2 times our a, which is 2. If 0 is on the top of a fraction, it's just 0, and negative 0 is just 0, so our x value is 0. So now that we know that our x is 0, we can find our y value. So we're going to plug 0 into our function up here for our x here. So our y is going to be 2 of 0 squared minus 8. 0 squared is 0, 0 times 2 is 0, so we have 0 minus 8, so our y value is negative 8. So our vertex is the point 0, negative 8. So we found our vertex. We now need to find our x-intercepts and the y-intercept and the range. So we're going to move on to the x-intercepts. Now our x-intercepts, where we can find our x-intercepts, is when y is equal to 0. So this is at y is equal to 0. So y is the same thing as f of x. So we're going to substitute 0 in for f of x. So this is 0 is equal to 2x squared minus 8. And once we have substituted that in, we're going to solve for our x here. So we're going to add 8 to both sides. So we have 8 is equal to 2x squared. We are going to divide both sides by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4 is equal to x squared. To get rid of an x squared, we're going to do the square root on both sides. When we do a square root, there's a plus minus, like that. So we have the square root of 4, which is 2. So this is plus minus 2 is equal to x. Or we can just simply flip this around so it looks prettier, and so x is equal to plus minus 2, like that. It doesn't really matter which way you write it. So our x-intercepts are when x is positive 2 and x is negative 2. So our x-intercepts are the points 0, Our x-intercepts are the point positive 2 and then 0, because our y value is 0. And the point negative 2, 0, like that. So here's our x-intercept, here's our vertex. We now need to find our y-intercept and the range. So moving on to our y-intercepts. Our y-intercepts will be the opposite of our x-intercepts. If our x-intercept was at y is equal to 0, then our y-intercepts are at when x is equal to 0. So, remember our function f of x is equal to 2x squared minus 8. So if we plug in 0 for our x here, we have f of x is equal to 2 times 0 squared minus 8. So we have f of x is equal to, this is all just going to be 0, 0 squared is 0, 0 times 2 is 0, 0 minus 8 is just negative 8. So our y-intercept is that f of x equals negative 8. Or remember that f of x is essentially the same thing as our y. So our y-intercept is going to be the point. It's going to be the point 0, -8. So that's our y-intercept. If you'll notice, it's actually the same as our vertex, because when our x is 0 and we have a y value, that's going to be our y-intercept as well. So now we find our y-intercept, the only thing we'll have to do is to find the range. So our range is our list of possible y values. So if we have our function f of x equals to 2x squared minus 8, if you graph this, you'd have a parabola. And there's two versions of a parabola. There's a parabola that goes upwards like this, it's an open bowl. Or there's the one that goes downwards like this. And the way you can tell is if there's a negative in front of this x squared right here. Since there's no negative in front of this x squared right here, it's going to be the positive version, which is the upwards bowl, like that. If it was negative, it'd be going downwards like that. Because we know that our vertex is on the y-axis, so we have little Cartesian coordinates here, and our vertex is at 0, -8, somewhere down here. We know it opens upwards, something like that. We know that our possible y values, which is this axis right here, is going to range from this -8 here all the way to infinity. So if you have a little y value here, there's a point. If you have a y value here, there's a point. And that goes on for infinity. But if you went down to -9, for example, and you tried to look for a point there, there's no point. So our range is from -8, including 8, to infinity, like that. So we've now found our vertex, our x-intercepts, our y-intercepts, and our range.